This is the subassembly video for the fan shrouds. Each fan shroud consists of several parts, primarily the fan shroud and then the motor that goes in it. The motor is a Sunny Sky A2212 KV980-2. Very important that it is the version 2, not the straight 980 kV, because they are different motors. So, looking at our motor here, this is a 3mm shaft. The other 980 kV motor has a 6mm shaft, and that creates a problem with the setup. What we need to do is get some of the parts out of here and set that up. We'll pause for that for a moment. We have already disassembled and removed the support structure from the fan shrouds. So you have a fairly large support structure to hold up the motor support. You can see just a little bit still remains right here and along here. The other thing that you'll see is there's some little nubs that are on various spots. A lot of those clean up with just a little bit of force. The side of a chisel will usually break those away. But for the most part, came fairly clear and clean on those supports. See if I can get in here. So there's a few there that have to remove. So what we have to do is get the motor assembled onto the fan shroud. Alright, so let's open up the accessories package and the motor. Okay. And then we have a secondary package here with a lot of little parts. We have a couple of additional retaining clips that go on the back of the motor. And that helps hold the motor in place with the bearings. We also have some screws, some 3.5mm bullets, and some heat shrink. The 3.5mm bullets will not go on the motor, and we'll get to that. For the moment, the first task is getting the large X mount attached to the motor. Before we install the cross member on the back of the motors, there's one step that has to be done. These cross members have just a slight amount of a larger thickness between this hole and the outer radius than the original ones that we worked with. So, as you can see, we can't push that down. It won't fit. It's not much, but it is an interference. So because we have an interference there, have to take a file and file down 0.5 mm off of this edge on all 4 sides. The alternative is to use a Dremel-like tool and grind that away just the same. Okay, so we've got our small screws here. I'm taking 4 of those out of the secondary accessory package. And we connect that. There are 2 orientations of the X-mount. They are not equal. So in one direction, the bolts holes do not line up. I don't know if you can see that, but they will never line up there. You turn it just a little bit, 90 degrees, and now everything lines up. So with that lined up, we need to take a drop of some type of blue thread locker. This is Permatex, just randomly selected. It was cheap at the local hardware store or any automotive store, RC shop. It doesn't take much, just a tiny drop. So add just a little bit to the threads to ensure. Let's see if we can focus. Okay, so just a little bit on the threads to cure so that it'll lock in place. Yeah, that takes a little extra time, but that's if we don't do that, the vibrations will loosen the part and you'll lose the motor from the mount. Okay. Alright, we wipe off any excess and we proceed to install the other 3 screws. If you happen to apply a little too much of the thread locker, just go ahead and dab it gently on the bubble. You can see there's still plenty of thread locker in the threads, and that will be sufficient to cure and lock the bolt in place.